limousine riding, jet flying, son of a gun, and I'm having a hard time holding these alligators.
You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. It's apparent these girls staring. I'm Ric Flairin', gold across my chest. I'm fresh to death. I'm Paul Bearing, not at all scary. One eye open like Betty Wops and fine to these circles that's going in like a carry shot. Woo! I'm going in like a Mary Pop off that Mary Crop at the top flow at the Marriott. So questioning me is like questioning you. See, we the best dressed, so come and get blessed with the crew. Not one but two, different ways to slaughter your crew. Committed tat across the chest, I guess she blessed with the truth. People want to see them checks, representation of proof. Living through my elders trying to resonate to the youth. But ain't nothing to get my flash on. Longevity is heavily embedded in my melanin. Layman terms, I last long. My grind repetitive, I'm smoother than real silk. Lyrical cash cow who can't cry over spilled milk. We in here. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. This ain't no normal situation, this preparation with greatness. Industry full of fakeness, it's really up for the taking. See, life is what happened to you, more so how you take it. Don't get stripped of your knowledge and mentally leave you naked. I like to live otherwise. I'm sorry that I'm fresh to death. I put the polo and apologize. See, black son, we ain't nothing like them other guys. Quit to socialize, we organize, then we mobilize. Off the deep end like a scuba diver. And no confusion, just keep it pushing like Uber drivers. Woo! Business fresh just like a supervisor in a Gucci visor. Can't find a smoother rhymer. You're talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us. You talking to the Rolex wearing, diamond ring wearing, kiss stealing, willing dealing, limo jet flying. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us. We Ric Flairin' on us, flaring on us.
Yeah, DQ baby. Shout out that boy Nigga for that fire track. Hey, Black Sun, sun up. What's up, Vinny Vegas? What in Vegas? Yeah. Shout out Pharaoh's Kids, D-Phase, yeah, Bubba C, yeah, Ric Flairin' on them, Ric Flairin' on them, Ric Flairin' on them, Ric Flairin' son up, baby.
Hey, Roundtable Season 2. Scotty and Blue. Backpack coming through. Let's square it away. Ain't nothing like the round table. I pay you if able to find better on cable. They made you appreciate Scotty and Blue. Football media, walking encyclopedia. Scott understand the Blue got the stats handy. Football, the topic around it, they ain't dancing. Stat sheet longer than Clifford Harris's rap sheet. He run a phone, please. See why you're playing them that deep. Awkward silence, no need to be quiet. You know you saw the game, we might as well talk about it. Somebody caught a body in front of everybody. Pick six, cornerback out here committing robberies. How much you wanna bet we could cover the spread? 50 yards in the game, 100 after the catch. Throw it up if you want, I'ma grab it and flex. Season 2, Captain Pettier, still with the mess. You can move how you want, but we gon' move too. Round table with your boys, yeah, Scotty and Blue. Backpack. Poet.
What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. Yeah, happy Tuesday. I was about to say Thursday because I'm so used to doing this on Thursday. Happy Tuesday, everybody. You already know what it is. Your boy Scotty, the Roundtable with my boy Blue.
What's good? What's good, man? I know people were pissed last week because I went by my laptop to cancel the stream. We both forgot. People were probably sitting there for like 2 hours, like, what is going on? Like they thought we died or something. It was bad.
Yeah, and somebody texted me, was like, Scotty, like y'all ain't doing a round table. I was like, oh shoot, I forgot to delete it. Hey man, that is our apologies, bro. Listen, I listen. It was on me. I was tired of talking about Dion. Okay, I was tired of talking about Dion. I was like 3 days straight of some Dion mess. I wasn't gonna do it, but we here talk about some football because that's what we do here on the round table. We give y'all the insight breakdown. You already know me doing what I do, and you already know the boy Wonder. That's what he does. All right. So first and foremost, let's not talk about Dion. Let's talk about the new hire of TC Taylor. Blue. All right. I know you had a breakdown on your show. You haven't done this part. Grade the hire for me. What grade would you give this hire for Ashley Robinson?
Yeah. I graded it at the end of last show, and I was a bit, I would say kind of like middle of the road. So I would say B minus.
Okay.
And why I say B minus is that, yes, it's not a flashy hire. It's not one of those hires that's like, oh, of course it's going to work. No question. It's not a slam dunk hire. But I don't think it's the worst hire. I mean, listen, he's a first-time head coach. And if you go back through the history of all the first-time head coaches, really and truly, the success is in the staff that you hire around them. And I believe Ashley Robinson is going to give him the flexibility and the support to get a good staff around him because he understands how important that is for a new coach to have some support around him. And there's some guys who have not jumped to Colorado yet that I think are a good foundation to build a staff on. Weeks as a D-line coach and some other guys. And then on top of that, too, you get a Jackson guy who has been in the program, has seen it done under Prime, that can kind of keep some of the things that have been working going. And so B minus for now. If it could be a B plus if he hires an all-star staff and they go out and win the first year. But for right now, I think a conservative guess is B minus. It's not the worst hire they could have made. But I don't think it was the slam dunk hire that some people were expecting.
Listen, man. I'm going to give it a D. Right?
Ooh,
No, I'm kidding.
I was about to say that's brutal.
I'm kidding. No, I'll give it a C plus. And the reason is because him as the head man, he really doesn't do anything but retain. You get what I'm saying? Like he really just he's retention. You know what I'm saying? It's like, all right, let's not lose what we have. But how does he push you forward is the ongoing question, right? So when you hire somebody like good example, Eddie Robb, right? When you put Eddie Robb, you're like, what buzz does he bring? He never coached. He does no buzz. He did. So you start nicking that off, right? So for me, he's been around the program. He knows these kids. He knows kids that you don't know how good they are, for what he wants to do. The kids on the totem pole that have probably griped and complained to him about, man, I'm not getting no opportunity. Man, Coach Prime don't see me. Like, those are the kids that you want that are going to want this TC Taylor hire because now they feel like, man, I got a shot. It ain't no favoritism. I'm not saying Dion was a favorite guy. I'm just saying, like, that's how players feel. So I think for that, he retains a lot of those players that are good and talented, but they were going to leave because they felt they didn't have a chance. Now, what I want to see going forward is how he puts the staff together and how he recruits. So how he goes can move that up to by the beginning of the season. It could be an A minus. You know what I'm saying? It could be a B plus. But as of right now, I'm gonna give it a C plus because it's just retention. That's what this hire was for me, was just retention. And I respect that. Keep the players you have on staff and going forward and things like that. Now, let me ask you this, Blue. What does he need for you to bump that grade up to a minus? You know what I'm saying? B plus.
I think one is who he retains. We know he coached tight ends this year, but like he's been the wide receiving coach. He has relationships with what I think was probably one of the deeper positional groups on the team. And you can say everyone came for Prime or whatever, but at the end of the day, TC having a relationship with the wide receivers, he built relationships on the recruiting trail with these guys who transferred in.
Absolutely.
Regardless of if he was to if Prime was the final push, his relationship is going to be key, like you said, in retaining some of these players. For me, the biggest thing is the staff hire. I need to see an OC and a DC that are proven, especially a DC, because we know TC has experience, and if he hires an OC, he can be a little bit hands-on and help them out. I need to see a game-changing defensive coordinator. That's what's really and truly, that's what separated Jackson from a lot of teams in the SWAC is, I mean, that's a defensive unit that is number one in the entire country in yards per game, points per game, and passing defense. You're going to need an outstanding DC, especially with an offensive-minded head coach. When you go through college football, especially let's just take the last 10 years, all these quote unquote offensive geniuses that have failed as a head coach is because they didn't bring in the proper DC. That's going to be the number one hire for me, is who he hires as the defensive coordinator.
I agree with you wholeheartedly, Blue. And I'm gonna say this, right? I'm going to always be on the Javancy Jones bandwagon. I know you probably don't know who that is. Former Jackson State great D. I believe he played DN for Jackson State. He is now he's the defensive coordinator in Mississippi. He just won the state championship down there. He's been doing work. I know he's not a sexy name or flash name, and I'm always going to be on that bandwagon. But I agree with you. I think finding a DC that fits the scheme of what you do not want to do is you don't want to do a full scheme change, right? Because all the players you done brought were to fit this scheme. You know what I'm saying? Like I talked to Mr. Campbell a couple of days ago. He said, man, listen, all Deion is doing the same thing he did at Florida State. They played bump and run at Florida State when Deion was there. That's what he knows. He brought that same style to Jackson State, right? So to me, it's like if you saw it worked. If I'm TC Taylor and I see this style of play works, we bump and run, man up, cover 0, cover 1 type looks. We keep trying to find those type of players, and we keep this same scheme. We keep this thing rolling, because at the end of the day, the quarterbacks ain't getting no better in the SWAC. They ain't getting no better, clearly, right? So you still want to keep the challenge on DC. So if I did bring a Javancy Jones, I'm like, hey, Javancy, this is how we running it like this, baby. Bump and run, man to man. We getting after the quarterback, versatile front 7 players, and let's go get it. Let's talk about his first commit. Everybody's been ranting and raving about it. Philip Short. I'm going to go first because I'm the bad guy. All right. To me, I didn't watch his huddle. I watched his games. All right. Listen, sometimes huddles don't tell you the full story. I watched his game. Jackson State fans, you already hate me. You're going to hate me some more. This is Bashawn McCray 2.0 in my book. All right. I'm going to just tell you like it is. Go watch the film for yourself. In my personal opinion, this is Bashawn McCray 2.0. He has a funky release. If you go watch the games, it's a lot of times his balls die, right? With that funky release style that he has, his balls die. They skip the dirt. They do a lot of that. He has accuracy issues when I watch the film. So I'm not the biggest fan. I think he's great for TC Taylor's system, though. He's an RPO style guy. He can get it. He can move. He can run. But the way the SWAC is, the better accurate your guy is, the more likely because remember, and I said this about Demetrius, it's only so many times all that dancing, ducking, and diving. Listen, only so much that's going to help you. You got to be able to make throws. The guy does have a hand. He does have a cannon. He can throw that thing. Accuracy's not there. It's hit or miss, kind of a 1-read, 2-read guy. I'm not the biggest fan of this guy, but he could prove me wrong. But Blue, what you got?
Okay, I'm gonna be honest. I don't like the McCray comparison. Now, I do agree. I said on my episode, my one concern for him is accuracy. There are times where it almost like it looks like he loses focus, especially in his intermediate to short game. His deep ball, he has some touch on it when he has a clean pocket. That's the one thing, is like if you can't keep him protected, that's a worry for me, because he is athletic, but man, if he's trying to throw off his back foot, it just isn't there. Now, I will say the reason I like him more than Bashawn is that I do think he's a more developed passer than Bashawn, even though they both have awkward releases. Because I looked at his huddle and I went and found some games, he does work through his progressions better than Bashawn did. Because Bashawn, to me, it was either 1-2 read or I'm out there scrambling. Like, I'm gone. for Phillip, there were a lot of plays where he did work through all his reads. Like, and even when he is scrambling, looking for the run, he still keeps his eyes downfield. And I think that's something that Bashan doesn't do very well, or at least didn't in his JUCO.
I agree with that. I do agree with that. Bashan brings his eyes down very quickly. I agree with that.
Yeah, and so I think that's where Phillip is a little bit better than him. So I do think he's a more developed passer. I do think he has a little bit of a stronger arm. And so I think he is going to be better than Bashan McCray. And when we'll see who the QB coach is with a little bit of development, because let's just be honest, man, when you get a JUCO guy, no one's perfect.
Right.
I still think he has the potential to be a lot better than Bashan McCray. And so it's going to be important for Jackson State to surround him with a good quarterback coach. And also, the number one thing you got to do, I give him credit for this. He always puts it in a position for his wide receivers to go make a play. If they can keep a Shane Hooks, a Malachi Wadman, some of those bigger body receivers, I think he's going to give them a lot of chances to make one-on-one plays in those one-on-one opportunities down the field.
I think when I say Bashan McCray 2.0 is that he's very limited. That's let me be very. He's a limited guy. I don't think there's a very high ceiling. And listen, this is just my opinion. I'm not saying he's going to be. I'm not saying he's trash. Okay, let me be very clear because I don't want to. He's not bad. He's not a bad guy. I think for what TC Taylor is going to do, I think that the RPO system is going to fit him. I think they're going to limit his reads to a front side read. The one thing I didn't like about him, he's very flat footed in his delivery. Like he doesn't bounce. He's very like it feels like his feet are stuck in mud. So it's not like a light movement. If you watch Shador is very good at that. He's very light on his toes. He's always moving. His body's always moving. He's always gliding. If you watch Phillip, he's very like just flat, like he's stuck, and then he starts moving and stuff like that. So it's kind of hard to make transitions when you're really flat on your feet and you got your heels on the ground. So it's just a lot of things that I feel he needs development on. I'm not saying he's the second coming of anything. I think he's a project guy, and I think for to start it off, because that's the biggest thing for Jackson State is who's going to be the quarterback. That is the who is going to fill that role. And if you think that he's going to be the second coming of Shador, I would tell you to pump your brakes. I think he has a lot to develop, but it's the accuracy for me, man. It's like if you can keep Malachi Wadman, if you can keep Trevante Rucker, then they're gonna make plays for you. You can just throw the ball up and they make plays for you. But where the SWAC is going and people getting better and the defenses are getting better, I'm a little shaky on him. So that's why I said Bashan McCray 2.0. I think it's gonna be a rough time for him his first year in the SWAC. But I think he's gonna run his ass off though. I think he's gonna run his ass.
He can move when he gets out there.
Oh, he's shifty now. And I think the benefit for him is this, like you said, he keeps his eyes up. So, and it's the same thing with Shador. When he broke that pocket, most of his big plays came from when he broke outside the pocket, people are coming open. And if that happens with Phillip, he can hit you 30, 40 yards downfield because he has that type of arm. So I do give him credit for that. So, but definitely Bashan McCray 2.0. This is my personal opinion. You ain't gotta like it. Just watch the film. All right, if you watch the film, that's just my personal opinion. All right, listen. Me and Kofi talked about it. Blue, what is your opinion of these two guys and going into the Celebration Bowl? Who would you want? What makes who special and all that type of stuff?
I'll say this. I think for what system both teams run, they're the perfect quarterback for their system. I think for what Central wants to do, I don't think Shador could run very well. And what Jack State wants to do, I don't think Davius Rashard could do very well either. So I think they're perfect for their scheme. And they're just two different quarterbacks, man. Like if you want a guy that has elite pocket presence, elite accuracy, and can push the football down the field, man, you got Shador. If you want a guy who's a dual threat guy, who's also a leader of his team, man, you want Davius Rashard. The biggest thing is in this matchup is how much of a factor is Davius's legs going to be. If you take his legs away, things get really hairy for that offense.
Absolutely.
His ability to get out of the pocket and run is the number one thing to watch this weekend. We know what Shador is going to do. Shador is going to complete probably 65 to 70% of his passes, throw for like 250, and like 2 touchdowns, 2 to 4, whatever you want to say. Like that's what he's going to do every week. He's done it every single week. For Davius, it's just, can his legs be a factor? His legs were not a factor against Campbell. And that it took a whole side of the offense away, and they really, really struggled. That's going to be the key. But right now, man, just in terms of his pocket presence, his ability to make all the throws on the field, I would lean Shador for my offense if I was picking a quarterback.
I listen, I always like dynamic guys, right? The one thing, the more, and we'll get to it deeper into the show, but I'm gonna kind of say it, and you're gonna hear me say this a lot. And I'm on the way I felt about Campbell is the way I feel about North Central. The more I watch them, the more I don't like them. It just, I don't know what it is, and that's not Richards. I want to be very clear. It's just the team, but let me stick on topic. All right, let's be on script, right? For the quarterback, I love dynamic guys, right? Because I always feel like as an offensive coordinator, and I'm not saying Shador is not dynamic. He always does what he needs to do. That's what makes Shador great. You need 15 yards and you want to go run man and leave me wide open, I get you 15. Southern, you want to leave, go man to man, I can go 40 for a house call. So he always gives you what he needs. But Richard is different. When he runs and he puts his shoulder down, that is a big guy coming at you full speed ahead, and he can move. He can absolutely move, and he is a load to bring down. And you're 100% right, Blue. If Jackson State takes his feet away in this game, it is going to be a long day for North Central. And I'm gonna keep calling them North Central. And anybody has a problem with that, you can come see me in these comments.
You know what's funny is, like, if I'm not mistaken, there's a D2 or D3 team that is called North Central, and they were like in the playoffs this year, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, they about to be in the FCS today. They about to be a part of FCS today. Shador, listen, man, Shador is Shador. I mean, I don't know how to say it, anything else. He's very prototypical. You know, go through progressions, reads, very play smart. You know, things like that. The one thing about it seems like the longer Shador has been playing, the worse his QB clock has been working, right? Because he holds the ball so long. You like Shador, what are you doing? Like, why are you holding the ball? Like, he over here dancing and doing. I'm like, bro, just throw the ball away. You know what I'm saying? It seems as the more time he spent in the SWAC, he's got a more lackadaisical with his quarterback clock, because he just assumes he has all this time, and then you see him get caught up in those 2nd and 20 sacks and them 3rd and 15. I'm like, bro, just throw the freaking ball away. And you saw that against Alabama A&M. You saw that against Alcorn. He's always trying to make a play, and sometimes the best play is just to throw the ball away. So that's that's my one knock on Shador and the things that he does. But other than that, man, he's a tactician, man. He's a tactician. He's gonna pick you apart, you know, however you sees it. And if we're gonna get more about the game, but that's just my 2 cents.
And I will say, I know people, because, you know, listen, I'm not the first one to always defend Shador. Okay, yeah, someone put in the chat that North Central won the D3 championship. So you got the D3 national champion North Central Cardinals. But with Shador, Scotty, because listen, if anyone's played football, like, you would kind of adjust to your circumstances year in and year out. Early in the season, Jackson State's offensive line was playing really well, and they were hitting a lot of great, like, big plays. And so I think he got comfortable with that over the first few weeks. Well, then once the offensive line took that step back, the clock that you had up until Bethune-Cookman turned into, it got cut in half. And so I really do think it's a hard cognitive adjustment for a quarterback to change his clock mid-season, when he got used to, like, 6 weeks of just picking people apart, standing back there all day, and now you got half the time. I think it's been a slow adjustment for him, and so I think that's something to look for this weekend. Is, can the offensive line revert to the offensive line we saw in the first half of the season, rather than what we've seen in the second half? Because in the second half of the season, the offensive line has been garbage. I'm sorry. Like, I've talked to players' parents at Jackson State on the offensive line that said they've been horrible the second half of the season. They've regressed. And that's a major, major issue.
Major issue. Absolutely. Let me open these call lines up.
There is one other participant in the conference. All participants are muted.
All right, let's go into these teams, Blue. Keys for your keys. You know what? Let me go first because I got a lot to say about this. Because I hate when you go first and you take all my thunder, and I'm like, sound like I'm repeating you. Oh, Scotty don't know what he's talking about. He's just repeating Blue. Let me go first, okay? 1, your D line. Let me say this, man. I can't stress this enough. NCCU, your D line is going to have to clock in the work because they're not good. They are the definition of average. Okay. If you think that 3-3-5 is going to work, it's not. And if you're 4-down lineman, it still isn't the best, but you got to do it. You got to run 4-down lineman. It just is what it is. Also, going back to the point I wanted to make about Richards, he gets tunnel vision really bad as a quarterback. He stared like if you go watch his picks are not like overthrows or tip passes. Like it's rarely those. It's literally him hyper focused on a receiver and he just stares him down. He gets tunnel vision. The South Carolina State pick to lose the game. The 2 Delaware State picks that he threw in that game. He just that's the trending theme for him is that he has very, very bad tunnel vision when he gets locked into a person, and he can't do that against Jackson State. And the next thing for me is this: they have to run the ball, and I like their offensive line. Their offensive line reminds me of Southern's offensive line of last year. They're solid across the board, not a weak spot. They pick up stunts very well. They're solid. They're a solid unit. They work well together. And I think Latrell Collier, a lot of people might not know what that kid is, but that kid runs hard. He's a hard runner. He's hard to bring down. He's special as well. But keys to win, the D-line has to come play. Richards has to be special. He has to be special. I'm talking about 200 in the air, 100, 150 on the ground special. And wide receivers have to make plays. Wide receivers have to make plays. All right, Blue, it's on you.
Now, you're right. I mean, so tomorrow I'll be dropping the interview with Matt Leone, the OC at North Carolina Central, and he talked about that. He was like, man, Jackson, they leave you one-on-one, whether it's the offensive line, whether it's the perimeter, they leave you one-on-one, and they just trust their players to win those one-on-one battles. He was like, if your wide receivers aren't winning one-on-one battles, you have no chance to win the game. And I agree. I think established to run, of course, is the number one thing. I need 150 to 200. Regardless of how it comes, it could be by committee. You might not have to have a 100-yard rusher, but I need 150 to 200, and that even goes into winning the time of possession. You got to control the ball here. But my 2 key stats, I went back through, Scotty. I watched some game film, and I was kind of looking for trends for Central in this season. One's the turnover battle. They're 5-0 when they win the turnover battle. And both of their losses, they either turn the ball over and tied or they lost the turnover battle badly. They have to win the turnover battle. And that's been a theme against Jackson all year. If you turn the ball over and Jackson doesn't, it's a massacre every single game. And then also a really interesting stat, they've been over 50% on 3rd down in 9 games.
Woo!
The 2 games they were below 50% on 3rd down, they lost. The Campbell and the South Carolina State games are the only 2 FCS games that they have been under 50% on 3rd down this year. If they cannot convert on 3rd down, it's an issue. And it goes back to the run game and the time of possession. Again, in that New Hampshire game, they were able to keep themselves in 3rd and shorts because they were able to run the football and get those large chunk plays on 1st down. You have to stay ahead of the chains against Jackson. If you get caught in the 2nd and 12, 2nd and 13s, 3rd and 12s, they are going to absolutely pin back and come after you, and you have no shot, man. They got too many athletes up front, and they're too athletic. So you have to stay in front of the chains, and you have to be efficient on 3rd down. And so those are my keys for Central this weekend.
Listen, I love that, Blue. I think the only game that was the Delaware State game. I think they lost the turnover battle, and they won that game. And I watching that game, I still don't understand how they won it. But the one thing I also want to bring up, and shout out to Matt Leone if he's watching this. Listen, the creativity of NCCU, you haven't seen it in the SWAC. I'm gonna just leave it alone. I don't want to start dropping gems because I've watched enough Issy. Listen, bro, they are a very creative unit on how they get players isolated in matchups. And that's a lot of stuff you do not see in the SWAC. I just want to be very mindful of that. So I got to give Matt Leone a lot of credit for that. They are very creative on how they get people, and they're not afraid to use their tight end. I want to be very clear about that. They're not afraid to use their tight end. You know, does Richards hit him all the time? No, he doesn't. But they're not afraid to use them. You know what I'm saying? So that's one of the keys. So I'm curious to see how it looks and how they set this thing up going forward. All right, Blue. Keys to win for Jackson.
Protect Shador Sanders. That's it. I mean, you got to protect them. That Alcorn State game, it as an offensive lineman guy who loves watching O-line play, I was sick watching that game. I went back and watched the replays. I was there and I was like, man, maybe I'm overreacting. Jesus, they couldn't block a soul. And that's an undersized Alcorn State. Everyone talks about how small Central's D-line is. Alcorn State doesn't have a lot of big. Malachi Bailey is like 270.
Yeah.
At most. They do not have big offensive linemen at Alcorn State, and they stuffed Jackson's run game and got pressure on Shador. If Central can replicate that, that's an issue. That's a major issue if you lose the line of scrimmage battle. So you got to protect Shador. They've allowed one or more sacks in the last 5 games of the season, Scotty, after having a streak of like 3 games earlier this year where they didn't allow a sack. So that's a major issue. Also, containing Davius Richard. That's a number one thing. We've talked about it. If he gets out of the pocket and beats you, and he runs for 100 yards himself, and he's out there running like who was it, Bubba last week? Man, Aubrey's got to play better in open field. Aubrey was getting worked in the open field by Bubba, and
not you said the defensive player of the year, not the DPOY.
I'm not touching that one. I'm just saying.
DPOY. Okay, go ahead.
I'm just saying that the linebackers were getting worked in the SWAC championship. You cannot have that happen against Richard. And also, you've got to take advantage of your mismatches because going back and looking at the film, as much as the 3-3-5 has been really talked up for Central, they do kind of run a multiple front where they can move into a 4-man front. When they're in a 3-man front, Savion Wilkerson should be getting the ball every single time. You should be running it straight down their throat if they're in a 3-man front. So take advantage of your mismatches if you're Jackson State, because at the end of the day, I love Central. Jackson State has the better athletes on paper. If you have a good mismatch, take advantage of it until they switch it, until they address it. Take advantage of your mismatches. So for me, those are my 3 keys for Jackson to win this weekend.
Man, listen, it always starts with protecting Shador. If you can protect Shador, this game's going to be different. I mean, if you go back to the Celebration Bowl, you saw what a game where Jackson State does not protect Shador looks like. This is my thing when it comes to Jackson. You have to commit to running the ball. NCCU is probably one of the worst run defenses I've ever seen. I mean, anybody go look at what they suck, okay? I mean, well, Blue would tell you they're good because they're decent because they held New Hampshire to one of their lowest totals. Morgan State, if I'm not mistaken, they held them to this lowest.
A&T too, who had one of the best running backs in the country.
They didn't know who they were at that time. They really didn't know who they were. Let's be real. A&T didn't really know what they were at that time. They were trying to figure out if we're going to be a quarterback.
And I went back and looked at those games. Like there wasn't any like significant injuries that I spotted, like any significant like scheme changes. It was just like when they wanted to stop the run, they did. And then it's like you go into the Campbell game, and I really do think the size of Campbell gave them some issues offensively, but Delaware State doesn't have a huge offensive line. So it's just kind of like I can't put my finger on why they're good sometimes against the run, and then other times they're getting gashed left and right. It's a mystery. And so that could be a key is which Central defense shows up, because I've seen 2 versions all season long.
So, you have that aspect of it. And for me, for Jackson State, it's setting the tone early, right? Because the one thing you don't want to do with a team like NCCU is let them stay. If you let them linger in a game, that's not what you want, okay? That is not what you want. You do not want these boys to feel like they got a chance in the 3rd and 4th quarter. They start lingering. They're like, oh, okay, cool. We in this game. We just need to make a play here, play there, down by a touchdown, down by 3 points. That's not what you want with these boys. So you definitely want to put them away as quickly as possible, and you want them to feel like they shouldn't be on the field with you guys. Man, I just don't see. If I'm being a whole buck, I just can't see Jackson State losing this game. It really feels to me it feels the exact same I felt as Campbell. I want to go. You know me, Blue. You know. It would do me nothing better to see Jackson State lose their final game at DI at the Southern. 2 years in a row running and Bama's lose. I'd be out here celebrate good. I'd be out here.
Baby, who is Smite? Who is? Who is Smite?
I would be so happy. It would do nothing better than, but I just can't. The more I watch film, the more I watch this team, they will literally live and die off of Richards and what he does. And their defensive line, to me, just doesn't scare me enough to say they can affect Jackson State of what they want to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, they just don't. They just don't.
Trying to bait you in the chat.
No, listen, man. I'm not betting no more on my channel because Bama's owe me $1,000 and still ain't paid up. Cash Harris and I still got my list here. And Shayna, you know who you are. Cash Harris and Shayna still owe me $1,000. So I ain't betting nobody else on my channel because if I would have lost, Bama's would have been in my chat every damn day. Scotty, where my money? Where my money? Where my money? I ain't bet with you, Bama's no more. But go ahead, Blue.
Yeah, man. You know, I think 16-point spread seems like a guarantee. I mean, bro, I'll take Central plus 16 all day.
Oh yeah,
I just don't see them winning. I personally got Jackson this weekend. I got Jackson 28-24 over Central this weekend in the Celebration Bowl.
I like 24-35. I like 24-35. I think Jackson State's a 10-point. I think Jackson State's 10 points better than this team. Yeah, like I feel that. I can't see 16. 16 to me is Richards throws 2 picks. You know, like something crazy. Like he throws 2 picks. Maybe they return one close to the end zone and they score off that. But he is vulnerable. I'm telling you, that kid is vulnerable to staring people down. And this is not the team that you want to play with, that staring people down mess. You just can't play with that. They are a mesh concept team. So I think if you see Jackson State do a lot of man, if the offensive line can hold up, I think you might see a lot of yak yards from NCCU doing that mesh concept. And rest in peace, Mike Leach. He passed away today. Rest in peace.
Yeah, man.
And condolences to his family. But you know what I'm saying? You'll see a lot of those concepts being brought in. So I would like to see if Jackson State does do a little zone. I'll be curious to see if Jackson State does a little zone, maybe in the box, just like the linebackers zone it up, because they do a lot of mesh concepts. But I'm excited to see this game, and I'm excited to see what it is. And to me, it comes down to the trenches. It really comes down to the trenches of what defensive line NCCU decide. If they got a guy who they about to bust out in the Celebration Bowl that ain't nobody seen, you better pull him out today. And I'll say this before we get to the call lines. Let me open these. They're already open. Call lines are open. 518-263-8124, 518-263-8124. If I was in CCU and I was the defensive coordinator, I'll be looking at the A&M game and I'll be looking at the all-court game. And look how A&M mixed up a lot of it. I mean, like, they were shifting, sliding, dropping. Like, they kept that old line of Jackson State on its toes. And I keep saying, if they would have had a quarterback, that would have been a different game. But that's neither here nor there. But you can't just sit there. Like, that's the one thing I've noticed about, you can't just, and I don't know, Blue, as an offensive lineman, how does that work when you see guys standing up and walking around and shifting and last minute shifts and all that? How does that affect you as an offensive lineman in your stance?
If you can't communicate and you don't know what the guy next to you is going to do, it's going to be a long day. Because even if you know what you're doing and know who you're going to block, if that guard, let's just say you're playing tackle, if that guard goes the wrong way, if you're expecting help on a double team and it's not there, you're going to get killed. It's just, if if you're seeing a chaotic front, or a lot of guys walking down, standing up, moving around, you just have to be real disciplined. And I think that won't cause Central a lot of problems. I'm going to be honest. So Central's offensive line is pretty damn good. They had the MEAC Offensive Lineman of the Year. Corey Bullock, I think, is an NFL draft pick. On our all MEAC team, they had 4 all-conference selections of the 5 offensive linemen. They got a legit O-line. They're experienced. They have a lot of games together. So I think they're going to communicate just fine. And that's the number one thing. If you don't communicate and you get one of those chaos fronts, you're going to get absolutely murdered.
Yeah, and I think what you're going to see a lot from NCCU probably early and often is run blitzing. They're going to run blitz. And what Jack, I'm telling you, I've seen it enough times. What you're going to see happen is Shador's going to hit that running back in the flare. As soon as you bring them linebackers down, he's going to turn. He's going to throw it to Wilkerson. The receivers are going to automatically go block. It is one-on-one with your safety in the alley with Wilkerson. And he better know how to make tackles, because if not, he's going for 20, 30, 40 yards. You're going to see it a lot of just Shador just whoop, whoop, just a lot of that. So before I take these callers, Mr. Campbell has an announcement. Mr. Campbell, you already know the Bishop is looking for 2 Celebration Bowl tickets. All right. So if you are not going to the game and you are trying to sell your Celebration Bowl tickets, please put in the comment chat, drop your email so Mr. Campbell can reach out to you and buy those off of you. All right. Mr. Campbell is looking for 2 Celebration Bowl tickets. So if you have them, you know what I'm saying, you ain't going, you want to make your money back, or whatever, set that up. So all right, put that in the chat if you have some tickets that you want to sell. 4016 coming to you.
Yo, what's up?
What's up, man?
Yo, first of all, man, don't you ever go against the win God, bro. Coach Prime is the win God, bro. He wins all the time, bro.
All the time? So he won the Celebration Bowl
all
last
the time.
year?
So even as a player, bro.
So he won the Celebration Bowl last year?
Even as a player, bro.
So he won the Celebration Bowl last year?
Well, last year the team wasn't prepared. They partied.
So he was the
after
lose
he won
guy.
the SWAC Championship,
so last year he was the
like
lose
he ain't having
guy.
focus, bro.
So last year he was the lose guy. Now he's the win guy now. I'm confused. How can you
he's the win guy, bro.
How can you be the win guy and lose?
Who won like how he won in life, bro?
The win guy
That's all the way around.
How can you be the win guy if you lose? Make that make sense.
Bro, he won all through his life as a player, bro. Are you not understanding that, bro?
You're not answering the question. How can you be a win guy if you've lost?
Word. When you game defines a career.
When you think about that, right? Think about that, regroup, call back in, and when you have an answer for that, then I'll let you talk.
Is that the same guy who called into my show yesterday and said Prime was above Eddie Robinson in the history of SWAC coaching?
I don't know, but that man, listen, at the end of the day, he needs to go back, regroup, get his mind together, explain to me how you a win guy when you've lost, okay? And then we can move amicably forward, okay?
If you want to laugh, you got to go check out the chat during that caller. I thought Mr. Campbell and like all the SWAC all heads were going to have just pure strokes in the chat when he came on here talking about Eddie Robinson couldn't hold a candle to Prime. It was unbelievable, man. It was the best call of my entire life.
Oh my goodness. At 9020 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
Hey, Scott. Hey, Blue. How y'all doing?
What's good, man? We doing well.
Well, I got 2 things. One, on the coaching, I give it a B. I would like to see him retain Mike Zimmer's son, Pat Zimmer. I think that'd be a good choice on the defensive side, since he did coach in the NFL. That's something you can tell kids when you're trying to recruit them. The defensive coordinator did come from the NFL. And I'd like to see him get an office coordinator maybe for one of these Texas schools like South Oak Cliff or Dunkerville or DeSoto. That might, be something he want to look at. But, as far as the game, I do not think that Deion's going to let, his son, baby Jesus, not shine. I think that, they need to run the ball to win the game. I don't think Deion's going to do that.
How can Deion allow something? Like, guys, like, we're playing football. How you going to say Deion is not going to allow something to happen? He ain't on the field. Deion is no longer backpedaling. If anybody hasn't noticed, he done lost 2 toes. All right, he is no longer doing back pedals. So how is Dion going to affect a game? How can he allow something to happen? Make that make sense to me.
Not a problem. So when you're a head coach, you do have the ability to override your office coordinator. So if your office coordinator is running the ball and you want him to throw it, you tell him throw the ball. The reason why I know that because I coach. And so if my office coordinator or my defense coordinator is not doing something I don't like, I do have the ability as the head coach to override him. So I think you play ball too, Scotty. So you know this is true.
But you're listen to the words that you're using. Dion won't allow. Dion does not. He cannot dictate of what a defense is going to allow. See the fact that you coach and you're saying what you're saying is even more like unfathomable. That you're saying Dion won't allow. Dion does not have the capability to say what his son can and cannot do on the football field. That does not make sense. All he can do is I'm going to put Shedeur in a position to do what he does best, but he cannot tell somebody, you cannot say Dion won't allow Shedeur to go out like that. Do you think Dion allowed South Carolina State to get to his ass last year? He didn't allow that. You can't say stuff like that.
What I'm saying to you is if, like Blue said, if they're in the 3-man front, the office coordinator have to run the ball in their front. That's all I'm saying, Scotty.
That's not what you said. That's what you're saying, but that's not what you said. I only listened to what you said. Appreciate the call. Come on, guys. Like, bro, come on, man. Like, y'all, listen. I get it. There's a lot of prime disease going around, right? There's a lot of prime like COVID going around, and all you guys are breathing it in. I get it, but you cannot get on my call line and talk about some. Oh yeah, Prime is not going to allow Shedeur to go out like that. He can't dictate that. He cannot dictate that. I don't give a damn. He does not affect the game like that. Come on, man. Y'all got to be kidding me. Y'all, man, y'all are starting the night off really bad. You know what I'm saying? Starting the night off really bad. Rocky coming to you. And don't be on no foolishness.
Oh,
Rocky.
good. Bro, we're 0 for 20 with the Rocky. How many other callers you got on the line? Oh, my goodness.
All right, man. No, man.
I love you, Rocky. I'm just messing with you, man. But
I want to ask, right? I haven't seen Richard play other than highlights, right? And I go back to what you talked about with the quarterback from Campbell, right? Who was all intents and purposes a very competent quarterback, right? But I saw where he wasn't clear about what he was seeing when he was playing with Jackson State. And I saw that he had a propensity to hold the ball during that game. It kind of played out just like you said, Scotty. Watching Bubba McDaniel play against Jackson State, it almost seemed like, because I watched the game twice, it almost seemed like he kind of knew what to do when the post snap. You understand what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And he was confident about what he saw. So he was confident throwing the quick game, even though it was tight coverage. He was confident throwing the quick game. And then when the rush got to him, it seemed like he had his head up and he knew where to maneuver through the line, right? So he was an aware quarterback. He wasn't super quick or super athletic, but he was aware. Does Rashard have that kind of awareness that can give you a great second reaction to what the Jackson State defense does if the first option in there?
I think he does. What about you, Blue? I think he does. I've seen it.
I think the biggest difference between him and Hajj Malik at Campbell is that Hajj is a better athlete. Like Hajj has a way more top end speed. He's a lot more slippery, kind of like Bubba was last week. The thing with Davis is a way better passer, in my opinion, than Hajj Malik. And I think he understands the offense a little bit better, and he's a lot quicker with his reads. Because I mean, you can argue it's because of scheme, but like he's a more efficient passer, and I think his size it plays a little bit. He's not afraid to run people over. Hajj Malik is going to run past you, even though he's a bigger dude. Davius is not afraid to run through you if he needs to. So I think those are the two biggest differences. But I do agree his post snap reads are a lot quicker than what you were going to get with Hajj Malik.
I'll say this, Rocky. Before I know you about to say your piece, but I'll say this. The thing for me when it comes to Davis Richards, and the one thing that can really affect Jackson is that Jackson is really vulnerable up the middle. And you saw it against Southern. Mm-hmm. They're a vulnerable team up the middle. That middle area, a lot of people want to attack the outside. where you really should be attacking is the middle of the defense. And that's where Davis is his best, if I'm being honest. He throws a great ball in the middle. So be very cognizant of that. Be mindful of a tight end getting up. Be mindful of a Texas route from the running back, you know what I'm saying, coming out, going up the seam as well. They'll do stuff like that, and that's where Richards finds himself at his best, is hitting stuff. And you saw it with Bubba McDaniels as well, his touchdown pass over the middle in the seam. So you'll see a lot of that as well.
Well, yeah, I've always thought Jackson State was vulnerable up the middle, but up the middle presents another a problem for most quarterbacks in the SWAC, in that they're not always clear about what they see up the middle. Like, interior passing, in my opinion, is a much more difficult task to consistently do over and over again, because there's more manipulation of coverage you can do with people in the middle of the field. Outside, the reads are kind of, they appear clear in most cases. You know what I mean? You get some semblance of one-on-one. The guys that can help, you usually know what direction they're going to be coming from, if they're going to be helping the outside route. Whereas inside, you have to be a seasoned passer in order to execute a passing game that features interior passing. And I think Jackson State feasted off, to be honest with you, incompetent quarterback play for most of the last 2 years. So I'm anxious to see how a quarterback who is competent in the passing game can really affect Jackson State defense. Because I love the way their defense plays. I love the physical nature in which they play. But if you can execute the passing game in an efficient manner, you can neutralize the aggressiveness of a Jackson State type defense. So I'm looking forward to seeing the matchup. I don't have any predictions one way or the other, because I haven't really seen enough of NCCU to make any predictions. But I'm just really interested to see if that quarterback can really challenge Jackson State's defense.
Hey, I appreciate it, Rocky. I'll say this, right? If you haven't watched Richards play, you don't understand how much of a tactician he is in the middle of the field. And if you watch, he really doesn't throw outside very often. You know what I'm saying? It's more like he'll throw on a second window. You know what I'm saying? If he's looking for an over route, he'll throw in the second window. So you got the 1, 2 on the back side or the front side window. He'll throw a comeback. He'll throw a hitch and all that. That's just basic quarterback stuff. But where he does his most damage is definitely in the middle of the field. I mean, I'm telling you, they do most of their damage in the middle of the field, and he will pick you apart. Now, the thing with this is that, like Rocky was saying, you get easier reads on the outside, because Jackson State is not going to, they're going to show you what we're in. I'm in man. That's what we're doing. Beat it. You know what I'm saying? So that's why it's easier to read, but is it an easier throw? Absolutely not. So that's what you fall into. Go ahead.
I must say, I think a lot of the success he has over the middle, I talked about this with Leone today, is that, Richard gets a lot of the credit, but Devin Smith and EJ Hicks are really good wide receivers. I mean, they're really good route runners. They play really well underneath, and they're really good in space and understanding where they need to be depending on what type of scheme the defense runs. They're really, really, I would say, cognitive type players, where they understand football really well, and they always put themselves in the best position. And their chemistry with Richard in the passing game, especially with those mesh concepts, with those, they got 3-4 routes in their head that they can run, different concepts. But listen, they can do it. And so I would say Devin Smith and EJ Hicks have to play big for their quarterback, because Richard can't do it all on his own. And I feel like there's a misconception, because a lot of people haven't watched a lot of Central football, that it's Richard or nothing. And they got a lot of really good athletes on that offense too, that I think are a little bit overlooked due to the fact of how popular Richard has gotten leading up to this game.
All right, Mr. Campbell wants to ask the chat, what's a better job, Colorado or Mississippi State? You guys can debate that in the chat as I take this caller. 5936 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Hey, Scotty.
Yes, sir.
You think you think Shadua gonna last the game? Is Prime gonna take him out if he getting sacked like he was doing against Alcorn?
Blue says no. Listen, man, I'm always on. I think,
bro, if he is gonna have to fear for his life getting out of Atlanta if he throws this game, bro. And I would be all for it. You're gonna throw the game on ABC? Come on, bro. Like there's no way he could do it. I mean, if he did it, man, there had to be some sort of NCAA punishment. You can't do that.
I don't think that's is that throwing the game? Well,
Yes, absolutely. If you purposely pull your quarterback to save him for next year, hell yeah.
It's a bigger picture to me. I just think that's big. I think that's big picture thinking.
If the offensive line not blocking for him, he gonna swipe. She'll do it out the game.
No way. Zero chance. I'm just gonna throw it out. Like that would be front page news, and anything Jackson State fans had to say to him at that point, I'm all for it. I'm right behind him. I'm coming on the stream. Listen, bro, you gotta come on, man. That's outrageous.
I don't think it'll be front page news because I really don't think it'll be front page news. I really don't think so. I think it'll be like, it'll probably like, Deion loses his final game as the head coach of Jackson State.
If he pulls Shador while he's healthy, you don't think that would ever come up?
If I'm being honest, I really don't. I don't think it's gonna be front page news. I don't think it's gonna be as big as you think it is, Blue. I
will make it that big. I will tweet every day until ESPN picks up that story. Zero chance. Zero chance. Come on, bro. I'm calling Neely myself until he posts that on the pregame show.
He'll be in Colorado by then. He'll be in Colorado.
I know the area code. I can Google the area code. It's all good.
Oh my goodness. Listen, Coach Pep. I'm not going to put it against Deion for not doing it because that to me that's just big picture thinking. I ain't even gonna hold you. It's just it ain't. What's the difference if a player sitting out of a bowl game?
That's before the game saying I'm a sit out the game to protect my draft stock. Not hey, I'm gonna play the first quarter, and because my offensive line sucks so bad, I'm gonna dip out and say good luck. In that case, they might as well just leave the game. Prom set his headset at the 50, get on the plane and go live on Well Off Media and talk about how they don't care about finishing the job.
Oh, man. What's up, Coach P? Anything else, Coach Pep?
No. All right. Y'all have a good night.
Hey, you sound real good, Coach Pep. You sounding real good.
All right.
If anybody was asking, that's Coach Pep. He had a stroke earlier earlier last year, but he sounds really good now. He said, "Shout out to you, Coach Pep. Thanks for the call, man. You sound really, really good." Listen, man. Maybe it's the conspiracy theorist in me, but I just wouldn't see.
Are they playing with the dome open or closed?
Probably closed. Probably closed. Right.
If that's the case, they might as well open it because Prom's going to land the plane at the 50 at halftime, pick him up right in the middle of the boom, everything. He's going to ruin the halftime show, everything. He's going to be the most hated man in Jackson. Scotty, you might be good in Jackson after this weekend if that ever happened.
Oh, man. That would be funny. Boy, you stupid. Hey, Book. Hey, you stupid, right? Oh, man. Book coming to you.
Hey, what's going on, man? Boy, y'all wow. Hey, look, a real quick question for you. Like for the most part, when we go up by 2 scores, that's kind of the formula, right? Go up by 2 scores, kind of make teams one-dimensional. And, for the most part, they don't have the offensive juice to come back from that. My question is, do you think that, one, NCCU has the offensive variety and discipline to kind of, commit to stay balanced? And do they have the juice to come back if they go 2 scores down? And if they do, if you're Jackson State, what dimension do you try to take away? Do you try to close up the middle from a pass standpoint and make the quarterback use his feet to beat you, or do you dare them to live and die by the pass? That's all I got, man.
I appreciate the call, Book. I'll tell you this. Thanks, babe. My personal opinion, Blue, I'm going to throw it to you once when I'm done. I do think they have the firepower to come back from 2 touchdowns. When you have a quarterback that can throw it, when you got a quarterback that you believe and your team believes in, right? And to me, it's no different than Jackson State. if Jack stays down 2 touchdowns, they're not afraid that Shador can't bring them back. You seen them do it. And it's the same thing for NCCU. They seen Richards go toe-to-toe with some of the FCS quarterback from New Hampshire and that squad and what they were doing. They've gone toe-to-toe. So I don't think that's an issue for them. For me, I'm gonna live with Richards running. I'm gonna live with it because you only gonna want to take them hits so many times. With Cam, with Aubrey, Reagan, Gaddy, they ain't got no little guys. So you're gonna want to take those guys. You're only gonna take hits from them guys so many times. Thanks, babe. You know what I'm saying? So I would take everything away and live with him trying to run and do everything by himself. But go ahead, Blue.
I would say they have the firepower, but the problem is I don't know if they could do it against Jackson. If you get down 14, because it's not going to be a situation where you're benching Richard and you got a quarterback coming in that Jackson didn't prepare for. Like if you're down 14-21 early, man, that's going to be so tough to come back with how good Jackson State's defense is. That's going to be, they might have the firepower on paper, but I think matchup wise, man, you can't get down by 2 scores to Jackson. Not in this game.
I think it's how you get down 2 scores.
Oh, I'm talking about like if it's just a normal 2, like Jackson drives it down your throat, shuts you out the first 2 drives, and it's 14-0 early. Like, bro, I'm sorry. I don't care who you got back there. That's a brutal sell. But in terms of what Jackson's going to do, I think they're going to play them just like Campbell did. Campbell played man on man, trusted their athletes. They got pressure on Davis Richard. They took his legs away, and they slowed down the run. Like that's it. They just trusted their athletes to go make plays. And if you do that, if you're Jackson State, I think that's Scotty, has there been a team, regardless of who they have at quarterback, who they got at running back, wide receiver, that Jackson says we don't trust our athletes to make plays one-on-one?
They're gonna live and die with it.
And so if it's working and it worked for Campbell and it's working early for Jackson State, I don't see why they change it. I think that's what they're going to try to do early though, and they'll make adjustments on the fly if it doesn't work. But I don't see them changing what they've done all year.
I'll say this: Jackson has a way of just losing steam. If I'm like they'll score quick and then they just go on this lull. Like they're not a team that they'll just like they don't bludgeon you to death, right?
Unless you're Southern.
Yeah.
That was the first time I think that was brutal.
So, the 35-0
No. The SWAC, that was what, 26-0 in the first quarter?
Oh, that's Bashawn McCray. Oh,
yeah, but I'm saying like they came out that game and it was over by the first quarter. Like
it was Bashawn McCray, like bro, like it's Bashawn McCray.
What we saw it happen with Campbell. Richard came out through 2 picks, and they set up, and it was what, 35-0 in like the early second quarter. It can happen.
It can. But I didn't. Okay, let me say this. I'll say this. Both of those scenarios, I knew the quarterback wasn't worth $2, right? I said Malik Hodge is not a quarterback that can beat Jackson.
Well, no. I'm talking about what Campbell did to NCCU.
Oh, yeah, that was just, oh, yeah.
Yeah, like I'm saying, it can happen to Central. Like it's been proven that like if things get out of hand, they're prone to just not have it.
I'll give you that. I'll give you that. Because Campbell just manhandled them. But
yeah, because once Richard threw that early interception to Rouser and it was 21-0,
it was
it was it. And like I think if that happens this weekend, like if he for Richard, you got to start off hot, because if you start off cold and throw an early interception, having some early bad drives, I think things could get out of hand.
But my thing is this: I agree. My thing is Jackson State is not a bludgeoning offensive team.
I'll give you that.
You know what I'm saying? Like they don't just like boom, boom, boom. Like it's just like, man, because sometimes they go on a lot of games. They go on a lull. Like they'll just kind of like moonwalk through a game. They'll sleepwalk through a game. They'll go up 14 in the first quarter or 17, and then they won't score again until like the beginning of the fourth. You know what I'm saying? So they'll sleepwalk through games, and then you'll see Shador make the one drive that kind of breaks the game open, and and it's like 10 points, and you don't got enough time. So it's stuff like that. So I think if you can withstand the early part of Jackson, i.e. Alcorn, i.e. Alabama A&M, if you can withstand that first half onslaught when they come out with all that energy, you have a chance to win the game on the back half of it if you can withstand the onslaught in the beginning.
The scary part for Jackson, for me, with the lull is you never know when it's coming, though, because we've seen it happen in the first quarter at Alabama A&M. We've seen it come in the second quarter multiple times. We've seen it come early in the third, even Bethune-Cookman. Like, we've seen it happen in so many different areas of the game that it's like, man, if you never know when it's coming, and it's like if that lull hits at the wrong time and the other team gets hot,
yeah,
things could get iffy. And then also, I see a lot of people talking about the break, the quote unquote break, but even Leone talked about it is, bro, the break's all good because you can add wrinkles and you get a chance to get healthy. But there's also a major issue of what if you just don't have the energy, and what if you don't have that rhythm established and you come out really flat because you haven't played in so long. And I think that's also kind of what you saw with South Carolina State early last year is early in the game, they looked rusty. And then it kind of all had to kind of catch back up. And then, of course, they had the turnovers and the momentum that really helped them kind of catch fire. But there's always a chance Central, even with the long break, comes out and they're extremely rusty due to that break. And so that's also a concern. So I think a lot of people are playing into the whole, oh, well, if they win, it's because of the break. It's like, man, they also could come out and look like absolute crap because of that long break.
Hey, Rust is not a game. Rust is definitely not a game. 8271 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Hey, Scotty, what's going on?
What's goody? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, this West, man, from Georgia. Man, I actually got a point to make, man. I'm kind of interested to see what Jackson State offense shows up. And I'm going to tell you why. To the point that you made about Shedeur holding the football in the latter part of the season.
Yeah.
He did the exact same shit last year. Now, if you go into the Celebration Bowl, all that South Carolina State did last year was play essentially a cover two man. They sat back, took away the perimeter away from him, and let Shedeur essentially suffocate himself. He could throw the football, but the motherfucker can't run. Now, Jackson State has a better run game this year, but they're going to have to throw the football to win this year. And I'm kind of wondering whether or not they're going to try to mirror that, because he's holding the ball now. And y'all said it yourself up front. They're not blocking as well as they did at the beginning of the year. So I'm kind of curious how Shedeur and Coach Prime going in and out of town, and him kind of having one foot in for the last 2 weeks is going to affect their communication up front. And I don't think a lot of people are taking that into consideration. When you start talking about your timing and your checks in a game like this, bro, that can cost your ass, man. So I'm wondering whether or not this game is won or lost on Shedeur's shoulders.
I'll tell you this: if the game is put on Shedeur's shoulders, to me, that's the wrong game plan. It's the wrong. It's like I think the game plan should be Sylveon Wilkerson. Sylveon Wilkerson, like. You have to if you demolish Campbell the way you did, right? Why can't, in my mind, and I know everything's not transitive, right? You know, all games are different, but in my mind, I'm thinking if we could handle Campbell's offensive line and D line, we could damn sure handle yours. So I'm thinking we're gonna run the ball, like we're gonna establish the run, because I know what Shedeur is, right? I know Shedeur is gonna put us in the right position. He's gonna hit the right reads or all that blah blah blah. So, my personal opinion, if I was game planning, we're running the ball. Sylveon get about 20 carries. Go ahead, Blue.
Yeah, the strength of Central's the strength of Central's defense is the secondary. They got a corner that is the MEAC Defensive Player of the Year and was a Buck Buchanan Award finalist, and Khalil Baker, who was one of the top interception leaders in the entire country. Manny Smith at safety is an absolute dog as well. Can play in the box, sideline to sideline, can cover. The strength of Central is their secondary. I don't see why you would want to say we want to attack the strength of a defense. Their weakness has been the run defense all year long. You have, in my opinion, one of the better running backs in HBCU football. He's been on an absolute roll. Run the damn football with Sylveon Wilkerson. Your offensive line is better at run blocking anyway. Play into the strength of your team. It doesn't make any sense why you would take the ball out of what your offense does best, which is run the football.
Well, but this the thing, though, and that makes sense. But I'm not convinced that Jackson State is capable of doing that, and I'm going to tell you why, for two reasons. I think, and I know it's two separate seasons, but the assumption was the same going into the Celebration Bowl last year. And I think the only difference is if you go back and you look at South Carolina's schedule versus what Jackson State's schedule was, it's the exact same thing. Jackson didn't go outside. He said, other than Campbell, they didn't go outside the conference. If you look at some of the latter team, perfect example like Alabama A&M, they were weak this year, but they played Jackson extremely strong. And I think in the latter part of the year, the games that they started out the season playing helped them against Jackson. So even though their run game was very well, that game was close. And we can actually argue that if A&M had had a little bit better quarterback, well, they probably would have had a chance of beating them, Jackson. So what I'm saying is, I'm just curious what kind of adjustment or how their offense is going to play, given the fact that the offense hadn't been that effective, and Shedeur kind of had 1 foot in, 1 foot out.
Well,
they can talk the main thing they want to, but all the shit that they dealing with, man, the last 2 weeks, man, that shit is going to show in that football field. When you start talking about timing, meshing, and all that kind of shit, I think it's going to show.
I think the issue, I think I get what you're saying, but what is kind of invalidating what you're saying just a little bit is that Jackson's run game was obsolete last year. They were a one-dimensional team the whole season, right? And also a part of that same team, they defensively, they lived and died with James Houston. This is not the same squad, right? Literally, I would get him on here every day and say, if you don't block James Houston, you don't want to win the game. And every week, people would put him one-on-one and let him wreck shop against their O-line. I'm like, yo, you guys are dumb as hell. You know what I'm saying? But this team is not the defense is not made up the same. The defense is made up of a bunch of guys. They don't have a superstar like James Houston, but they have a bunch of guys that can go get it. They got a Reagan, they got a Gaddy, they got a Demetrius, they got a Mercer, they got a Aubrey, they got a Barron. Everybody can make a play, right? So instead of an offensive line like Buddy Pugh double teaming Houston every single play, where they're like, yo, we can't let him. We're gonna let Niles do whatever. And now, if I had an award, I would give Niles Gaddy the most improved player award. But last year, when you had Niles on one side, they'll give that one-on-one block. We'll live with that. What we couldn't live with is James Houston wrecking shop. So they don't have everybody can win a one-on-one battle, right? So it's more or less like this team is more diversified in how they can attack you offensively and defensively. So those are things about this game that you got to take into consideration. That's why I said, if you want to win the game, you have to run the ball. Last year, I couldn't have said that because they didn't have no damn running game.
Let me ask you this. I got one more question. Do you think, as far as Jackson State is concerned, because I've seen NCCU here and there, but do you think it's Jackson State's defense to win or their offense to lose?
Say that one more time.
Do you think it's Jackson State's defense to win or their offense to lose?
Defense to win.
Defense. It's always their defense because that's what separates them. If I'm being honest, their offense isn't really special. If we're being listen, you can say whatever you want. It's not special. It's not, it's not. What's the white boy that played at Eastern Washington when he was there? Cooper Kupp. It ain't Eastern Washington. It's not Lindsey Scott at UIW. It's not these high-powered, oh, my God, how can we that's not Jack State's offense. It really ain't. Their defense. I
agree. And
yeah, go ahead.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm just saying their defense.
To my final point, I agree. I was wondering if that was going to be your response because, for example, the quarterback, what's the quarterback down there for Southern? The backup quarterback.
Bubba McDaniels.
Yeah, that kid. I'm kind of wondering if this situation is going to be the same. If, because of the things that I mentioned, offensively for Jackson State, if NCCU can figure out a way to be on. See, I got this saying, I coach too. I got this saying with my kids. I don't want to be the best. I want to be the best on that day.
That's good. I like that.
So if they can find, you understand what I'm saying? Even the best drop one, I want to be the best. When it matters, I want to be the best that day.
That's good.
So essentially what I'm saying is I'm wondering how good a game this is going to be because of everything that I just mentioned, and Jackson State offense don't show up, and ECCU is just that day, it's that time. You see what I'm saying? Typically, that kind of stuff happens in a game like this. And now it's their offense against Jackson State defense. We're talking about a game. I ain't saying one going to win over the other, but we're talking about a game now.
I like that.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
I appreciate the call. Listen, I had never heard that saying, but I like that saying. I don't need to be the best. I just need to be the best that day. I just need to be the best that day. Yeah, listen, I ain't got to be great. I just got to be great at 2:00, between 2 and 5 o'clock. I just got to be the best. I like that. I do. But the defense of Jackson State is really what makes them different. If we're that's what separates them from everybody else. It's great quarterback play and their defense. That's what really separates.
Because for Jackson, it's like the offense really doesn't have much pressure. If you score 14-21, you got like an 85% chance to win. because there's not many offenses, especially on their schedule, that can put up that, like, you know, if you were playing Incarnate Word, yeah, you probably got a little bit of pressure because you got to score 40. But I mean, most of the time it's like, man, if you get to 20, you win. That's it.
Yeah, that's real. That's real. Bubba was the only the Bubba-led Southern offense was the only offense that scored 3 touchdowns against Jackson State offensively. That's
And the crazy part is they had no, like, bro, I promise they didn't even look at film. That was like they threw them in that, like, and you got to say, like, now they got the film of Bubba, so they know what adjustments they have to make for a scrambling quarterback. So I'm really interested to see what the defensive game plan is for Jackson now that they have that film from when Bubba was thrown in.
We'll see. We'll see. 77-77 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
What's going on, y'all?
What's good? What's your name? Where you come from?
How y'all doing? All right, listen. Do you guys have or know of the players that are not going to play due to, like, the coaches change? Maybe they're like in the portal or something.
From what I've heard, any player that's in the portal wasn't getting significant amount of playing time from Jackson State. That's what I heard.
Like, I don't think they have any, like, starters in the portal.
Nah.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Katron. I think it was what, Katron, Michael Please, then there was who?
Big Country.
Yeah, Big Country. So, like, it's some depth pieces, but nobody who I don't even know if they were playing 20 snaps a game.
Yeah. So I don't see that being too big of an issue. 93-15 coming to you. Hey, caller, what's your
Scotty? What's up, this Black?
What's up, Black?
What's up, man? What's up? Look, man, real quick, if you in the city this weekend, man, get at me, Scotty.
Man, listen,
I heard Dallas, man.
Bro, let me tell you what I was supposed to. Me and Key was trying to make, because I gotta go pick up my kids. I literally leaving tomorrow to go pick up my kids. We doing a turn and burn, but I was actually going to go down and watch the game, the Jackson State and Texas game. I didn't know that shit was 11 a.m. And who plays a game at 11 a.m.?
Hey, Scotty, I'm going to be honest with you, man, because me and Mike got a good friend that works in athletics at Mississippi State. It's some whole other BS that went on behind it that we'll have to talk about offline.
Oh, my God. I'm so mad, bro. Yeah. I thought it was going to be like at 5 o'clock.
And I'm going to be honest with you, man. That's kind of on the Ashley Robinson thing, too. But I had to give you the scoop on this.
All right.
I had to give you the scoop on this.
But, yeah.
Real quick question, Scotty. This kind of off subject from Jackson State and North Carolina Central. This question really kind of for Blue. Blue, with Landon Scott having like 4,300 yards this year, 59 touchdowns and 6 picks, and Southern wanted him, Southern didn't recruit him or didn't go and get him. Do you think he would still be able to put up those type of numbers at Southern, given that the coaching is 1,000 times better at UIW?
No, he wouldn't have put up those stats. Like, I mean, you look at the talent that he's playing with on that UI. I mean, Darian Chafin and Taylor Grimes are All-American wide receivers. They got All-Americans on the offensive line. You got one of the most creative offensive minds in FCS football in GJ Kinney and that offensive staff. There's a reason he's about to go take the head coaching job at Texas State. He'd be good, a lot better than what Southern had, but, bro, no way he's putting up those stats at Southern. There's a reason he went to Incarnate Word.
And Blue, I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this guy, and I'm out. You know, Jackson State played Texas State next year, 2023.
Yeah.
He's going to get ass kicked, man. That guy at Incarnate Word, his offense is the real deal. There's no stopping it.
The scary part is, you know, that Sac State Incarnate Word game was last weekend. The running back, Cameron Scatterbo for Sac State, entered the transfer portal, and his first offer was from Texas State with GJ Kinney. So he might get the Big Sky Offensive Player of the Year at running back at Texas State his first year.
That's how you do it.
It would make me throw up if that happened.
That's how you do it. He said, I saw
well,
what you
that's
did
all I had, Scott.
That's it. He said, I saw what you did against me. Why don't you come on down here to Texas State and let's take this thing.
He offered him on the 50. He was like, bro, I need you. What number you want? Yeah, I'll go get your jersey right now.
Oh, man, that's facts. That's facts. Shout out to him, man. Shout out to him. From what I heard, I'm gonna just tell you a little, this is the FCS guru over here, but what I heard was Lindsey Scott's father was not letting his son go to Southern. That's what I was
after what you okay. I'm going to take a shot. I don't care. After what you saw this season, do you blame him?
No. Oh, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
Bro, if I had a son that was a quarterback, I'm picking Incarnate Word over Southern every day of the week. It's not even don't even call me. Don't even call me and ask the question. You know where you need to go. Bro, from Cameron Ward to Lindsey Scott to whoever they probably land next year. Come on, man. That is a no-brainer.
Yeah, no, I agree. Yeah, I wouldn't put past them either. 4409 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
First time caller, TP 1014.
Oh, what's up, man?
Yeah, Scotty. Hey, Scotty and Blue. First 1014.
Okay,
First time caller.
Hey, listen, real quick. All right. Don't listen to the TV. Turn the TV off. Just listen to me on the phone. All right. Don't. I know it gets kind of difficult because you want to watch the TV and talk to me. That's not how it works. It's delayed. All right. So just focus on the phone for me. All right.
Okay.
All right. Got you. Go ahead.
All right, Scotty. This is a question. This is what I'm tradition. I want to talk about traditional when a coach takes another job and then they hire the new coach. Does Deion take a step back from being up in the head coaching spot that Coach TC now is the coach? And what are your thoughts about the game coming up?
Are you talking about how the game is going to be coached? Like, does Deion take a step back in the Celebration Bowl and allow TC Taylor to be more enforced, or like to be more involved? Is that what you're saying?
Yes, I am. Yeah, that's what I'm speaking about.
I would tell you this: if I was TC Taylor, hell yeah, I want to be part of the game planning. I ain't even gonna hold you. Like, hell yeah, because this ain't just for you. This is for me too, because he wants to start his coaching career with the win at the Celebration Bowl to be a national champion, and Deion also wants to walk away for being a national champion. So hell yeah, I want to be a part of the game plan. You best believe
being up front, and I agree with you with that because traditionally normally when guys take jobs, they don't coach in the next bowl, they don't coach in the next game. So I think that TC should be the front line as the head coach in the game and let him go on and call the plays. Let him be the head coach in the game. I agree. I'm not an HBCU grad, because I was a big time basketball player back in the day. So I wasn't recruited. I come out of Chicago. I wasn't recruited by HBCU, even though my father was an All-American HBCU back in the 50s at Lincoln University, Jeff City, Missouri. So I just think that traditionally, I think Coach TC should be the headliner as the head coach in the game. Me personally thinking.
Okay, I'm gonna take the opposite stance of both of you guys. I do agree in normal bowl games, like when it's not a meaningful bowl game, like if your team is like Liberty with Hugh Freeze and they go to the Gasparilla Bowl, like bro, no one cares if you coach that. That doesn't matter if you win or lose. But coaches who get head coaching jobs always coach college football playoff games and always coach FCS playoff games. That'd be like asking Incarnate Word if GJ Kinney should stop coaching in the FCS playoffs, even though they got a chance to go to the national title, because he took a job, and we should let Mark Lefowitz, the OC, take over the play calling, because he has a chance to be the next head coach. Hell no. At the end of the day, the school, the players, the coaches, even Prime, even with him leaving and everyone saying he's got a foot out the door to Colorado, bro, at the end of the day, like, he still wants to win wants to win this game. You can't change up just because you took a job. Like, that'd be like North Dakota State when Chris Kleiman took the K-State job. He took the K-State job before the FCS playoffs started, and he took them all the way to a national title. It would have been dumb for them to be like, hey, man, we need you out of here because we're offended you took this job, and we'd rather lose the national championship just to prove a point that you shouldn't have left us for a P5 job. Like, that's being, I feel like that's kind of short-sighted. Like, Prime should coach the game. TC should coach the position that he's been coaching all year. Bartolone should be the OC like he's been all year. Thurman should be the DC like he's been all year. Like, I don't think you change anything for this game. The goal is to win an HBCU national championship and win the Celebration Bowl and finish 13-0. I don't think Jackson State would be the dumbest school of all time to be like, nah, man, F you. Like, we'd rather lose this game without you than win it with you.
Well, you have a point, because then you got the kids. It's for the kids, and you might have some bitter kids if that was to happen too. So you have a point there. I was just trying to make the question, see how you all will respond to the question.
Hey, no problem. Man.
That's all.
Hey, appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the question. Hey, Blue, let me ask you this, because you're the all-seeing, all-knowing, right? So, Chris Common, did he do it? Was he driving? Was he going back and forth between schools on the weekends, going up there to Kansas and stuff like that?
I know he had like made an appearance and like had like his intro stuff. And I think, I don't know, listen, no one knows, because I was talking to a player's parent at Montana State this weekend at the game. And, he was talking to me about prom, and he was like, man, I don't think people understand that what prom is doing happens all over college football. The only difference is you don't have 7 YouTube channels following his every move. Like, with the whole pulling scholarships and, him telling the players that they need to enter the portal, he goes, man, how many players do you think Kirby Smart said you aren't good enough?
Facts.
Like, he was like, dude, my son was recruited. Like, he's the backup quarterback for Montana State. He was like, man, coaches are honest all the time behind the scenes. It's just Prom's out there putting it up at 11 a.m. on YouTube, and everyone gets an opinion about it. So I think Kleiman was recruiting for K-State. He was doing interviews for K-State. He was doing everything Prom was doing. It's just, it wasn't the trending video on YouTube. So
I get it. Okay. So it's literally, it was being done in the dark. It wasn't being,
and North Dakota State knew what it was. Like, at the end of the day, bro, that's your new job. As long as you keep winning here, and we're going to a national title, because that's the standard in North Dakota State. If they don't win the national title, it's a bad season. As long as we're going to win the national championship, and that year in the championship, they blew out the team of the Natty. Like, and the players' mindset, because he was so honest to them about what was going on, is we want to send our coach out with a national title. Like, this is what we started together. And like, there was no, that's what that's what kind of surprised me with like this whole coaching change. I knew there'd be some bitterness, but most of nobody in Cardinate Word is mad at GJ Kinney for everyone just wants to win the national title with him. Same with Chris Kleiman, same with every other coach. It's just, even the Sac State coach taking the Stanford job, it just, I think it's different because it's Prom. I think that's really all it is.
No.
Well, and on top of that, listen, I'm a football guy. I can't speak to the whole culture aspect of it. And that's a whole added element that I can't speak to. But I'm talking in football terms, nothing that's been going on is out of the ordinary.
Well, Dion didn't come and do it in football terms. See, that's the thing, right?
I agree with you.
You don't have Kleiman coming in and say, yo, I'm coming to K-State to change the culture because God called me here at Kansas State. You know what I'm saying? And I accepted the call collect that Kansas State needed me. He didn't do that. You don't see DJ Klein or whatever his name is going to Texas State talking about Texas State has been so bad that God called me here to Texas State. And now Texas is in the Bible Belt now. And white people love the Jesus just like black people do. All right, so let's not be, I don't want to act like they don't. So he ain't going into, you know what I'm saying? He ain't going down to Texas State talking about, so, you know what I'm saying? I'm the new white Jesus. You know what I'm saying? That for Texas State. And it's not that, right? So when you add that level of, for black people, right? We call it, I call it church emotion, all right? Emotional church manipulation, right? Because I'm assuming you haven't gone to a Baptist church.
No, I like, my grandmother is like Southern Baptist. It's been some.
Have you been to an all black church? Have you ever been to an all black church? Okay, so an all black church, you have preachers who they rile you up emotionally to get in your pockets, right? So they'll say stuff like, "Oh, in the Lord," and they'll do a lot of that, and they'll rile you up emotionally, and you just want to be like, "Praise God." He could be like, "And the Lord is cutting your grass today, and the Lord is gonna come in your fridge and bless you with milk." And black people be like, "Oh, Jesus, thank you, God." Like, that's how emotionally they get played and manipulated by the church. So when you have Deion who is doing that, right, you're going to have the pushback because when you leave, you're like, hey, bro, like I was putting in the collection plate and you was telling me sweet nothings and now you're gone. So that's, if it was just business from jump, if he came in and said, hey, I'm here at Jack State, let's win some football games, Blue, I would 100% agree with you. I wouldn't even be mad with you. But when you throw that God aspect, when you throw the emotional manipulation, when you throw in all the I'm putting the culture on my shoulders, that's what makes it different. And that's when people feel like you lied to them or you let them down. That's the little caveat to that. But I agree with you. Business is business. Listen, business is business.
Because I talked to someone from 247. He works for 247, and I asked, was he worked at Alabama and has been with Saban, and he was like, man, if the things that Saban has told recruits behind the scenes was on YouTube, people would hate him. Like when they come on visits, when they're recruiting a 5, he's like, it doesn't matter if it's a 5-star corner, number 1 in the country. If his arms aren't a certain length, if his hands aren't a certain size, if his body composition isn't a certain thing, he don't offer him. He tells him he needs to go on somewhere. If they don't develop when they bring them in appropriate, like everything Prime's doing football wise that I think people are getting mad about, and other things, outside of the culture aspect of it, I think are things that happen all the time. And if you've played football, played college football, it's not surprising to people. But I think because Prime's so in the media presence and YouTube, everything's filmed, I think it's almost like when Last Chance U came out. You remember that if you've played football, nothing Buddy and Coach and Jason Brown were saying was surprising. I was like, bro, I played Southern football. I've played 7A football in the state of Alabama. My coach said way worse stuff than what Buddy and Jason were doing. But people who didn't play football and didn't really understand what went on behind the scenes was like, holy shit, that's really how it is? And it's like, yes, this is how it is.
Yeah. No, that's real. You know what I'm saying? I get that. It's just like, and I've been saying it from jump, and I've said it all the time. And callers, we're going to get to. My thing is that when you added God into it, that's where, to me, Deion took it too far, right? Because I can't challenge you on that because I don't know the relationship with you and God. But when you're tossing him around and using him all willy-nilly like that, people are going to take what you say very seriously because people are. People in the Bible Belt are going to be.
Oh yeah, I'm from Mobile. Listen, there are some things like it is a whole nother level down here. Like I think I can drive past more churches from my house to Walmart than like anything else. Like I mean, there's probably like I live probably like 3 minutes from Walmart. I probably pass like 6-7 churches.
You see what I'm saying? Church of God in Christ, Church of Rock, Christ, all type of, you know what I'm saying, church or something. So it's just that. Now, am I the person to say that Deion shouldn't have taken? No, I'm all for. If you want to elevate, but stop. It's like this, right? It's like God is Deion's his shield. Instead of Deion taking the bullets, he says, "Well, God called me to elevate." I can't be like God suck. It's just he uses that as a. Have you played the game? Have you played Mortal Kombat?
No, I'm not a big video game person.
Okay, so in Mortal Kombat, right, it's a person named Raiden. And Raiden, he makes a self-image of himself and he'll step out of it, right? And that's what Deion does. He'll say something and say God, and he'll step out of it. And then you're attacking. You're going to attack God? You're going to attack Jesus? Because that's who told me. And nobody's going to do that. And that's why you don't get much of the pushback and blowback because you keep saying, it's God who did this. It's God who did this. And God told me this. And God told me that. And God did. And God. Miss me with all that, man. So it's just little stuff like that. Like at the end of the day, business is business. I ain't got no issue with it, but I understand how people can feel towards it when you talk about God and do all that other stuff. Let me see. 5580 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. A couple of things I wanted to say here. First of all, this thing about God, everybody knows that when you go to church and see who's sitting there in the church and all like that, and everybody's praying and stuff, and talking about they love God and stuff like that, you have to use common sense on who really loves God and who's really following this path. when a person says God directed me to do something, or I'm following God's path, it doesn't necessarily mean that they're a religious person. It means that they may be trying to reach a level, a point where they're trying to do better. But the real reason I called, also, there's something going around the internet that I'm concerned about, and I hope you are too. There's different channels out there seem to be promoting unrest for this game, talking about Coach Sanders. And the question is, who should raise the trophy up? If they win, should it be TC?
Deion.
Should it be
Deion.
Coach
Deion should raise the trophy up. He built the team. Deion
he's the head coach. Like he coached the whole season.
And there's other people saying that he shouldn't even be in the doggone locker room. So I'm just saying, I'm sure it's going to be extra security and some more stuff causing some bad things being said on the internet. That's all I got to say.
Hey, appreciate the call.
I will say, okay, we got to kind of bring it. I said this on one of my other shows, and it's a problem that I think everyone has, is that like a lot of people let like the lowest denominator of like fans for college football teams, certain like you can't let like the lowest demographic speak for like a whole group of people. Like it's all good. Like no one's going to go in. Like there might be one person acting crazy, but you can't just let internet talk in the lowest common denominator with 3 Twitter followers like speak for a whole demographic. I was going to throw that out there.
No, I agree. I mean, to me, Deion built this team, man. Like, come on, man. I said TC should be a part of the game plan. He's the new head coach. Make him a part of the game plan. Like, okay, cool, whatever. But we know who built this team. Deion built this team. All right, so let's not play this game. 1296 coming to you.
Hey, what's going on? How you doing, Blue? How you doing, Scotty? How you doing?
What's good, man?
Hey, listen, I want to kind of talk about what the other caller said, maybe probably about 4 calls ago. It pertains to Deion with the Colorado thing. Let me ask you a question optimistically and just, don't try not to hang up. I want to know what you think and what you think too, Blue. Yeah, because I really want you to think about it, because here's the thing. Everybody's bashing Colorado or, the guys that are there, and I think they're not looking at the transition that, even like you always say, I got to see what it looks like first, right? If Shedeur gets there and he plays bad, or before we even go through that, I think what you got to think about, and I think this is a question for you too, Blue, what would it look like if, because the quarterbacks at Colorado, I did my research. Their resume on an FBS level is better than Shedeur's versus FBS competition. Remember when they played Louisiana Monroe last year? He was terrible. And I get what you said, Blue, in an interview on your show the other day. You said Jackson State's O-line was terrible last year. Well, Deion did the same thing last year he did this year. He got 30 guys out of the transfer portal. They were all like third-string drop-downs from the SEC. They got Tony Gray from UCF. So I just want to know, should Coach Prime let those quarterbacks compete for the job? Because who's to say that Shedeur goes to Colorado and he's better than the quarterbacks that are there? I mean, I seen that Cal game. That quarterback made some incredible throws that I've never seen Shedeur make or throw. Because, like you say, the competition is so bad in the SWAC, and all these 247 sports, everybody that's talking about it, they're not even talking about that, Scotty. So obviously they don't watch it, so they don't know how bad it is. So I just think that's my question, and I want to know what you guys think about it. Should he make Shedeur compete against those quarterbacks that are there? Because maybe it was the coaching. I watched one game, the coach at Colorado against Cal, he ran the ball on 3rd and 18. So, I mean, maybe it's not the players.
Well,
maybe
I'll say this.
Coaching.
I'll say this. The guy that you're talking about, Owen McCown, he already went into the transfer portal, so he's not going to compete. He's already in the transfer portal. So
yeah, he's gone.
Yeah, he's gone. So
there ain't no one there. It's gonna be Shedeur. Like there's like he gonna compete with himself. It's gonna be like being an only child. He gonna have to play with himself as in the quarterback room. It's gonna be him. It's gonna be him and Jesus. That's it.
So my thing is, if he's bad, do you pull him or do you keep him in?
No, listen. He walked into the casino, put all his chips on red, and he gonna have to live with what happens with it. He's good. Listen, Fox Sports already said Shador's gonna win the Heisman next year. So listen, the expectations are high. Listen, he's bet on his son, and he's riding with Shador till the wheels fall off, man. It's not even a conversation.
I got you, man. I appreciate it, man. Y'all take care, man.
Hey, no problem, man. Appreciate the call. Listen, man. I'm gonna tell y'all right now. A lot of you guys in the SWAC media do not understand that outside of SWAC media, they ask real football questions, right? So when Deion Sanders gets up on that spring ball and they ask him why he hasn't recruited another 4-star quarterback, why hasn't he offered another 5-star or 4-star quarterback to compete with Shador? Those are questions that man has to answer, right? So in the SWAC media day, he will never have to hear a question like that because everybody's too scared to ruffle Deion's feathers to ask why he never recruited against his son, right? Because everybody else does it. Everybody else has another guy that's sitting in the wings just waiting to take your spot. So let's just sit back and listen. All you can do is sit back and wait. So all you can do is sit back and wait. So
to be fair, they did land a quarterback commit today. I think he's a 3-star. I don't remember what recruiting service. I was a 3-star for whatever recruiting service I saw him on. I mean, he landed another quarterback, but listen, Shador's going to be the starter. Like, I don't know why. Like, this is a debate for people. I don't know why it's a question. Like, he went up in his press conference and said, "Here's the starting quarter." Like, I don't know how much clearer he could have made it. Like, I don't understand why people still got questions about it because he literally introduced him as the starting quarterback at the press conference and in the team meeting. Like, I don't know what else he has to say for people to understand that, like, bro, that's his son. He's committed to him. But the fact that he's a Heisman favorite over Caleb Williams is nauseating, but we'll move on.
Yeah. 70, let me see, 98-68 coming to you. 98-68 coming to you. Hey, caller, you live.
Yo, what up, fellas?
What's up?
It's Cal from Mississippi, Jackson, by the way.
Thank you.
I've been emotional lately, so I ain't been calling in. But I'm not a primate. I'm a old school. What do you think Deion's record's going to be at Colorado next year?
Blue?
And, hold on. Before you answer this question, I guess you got another one before that one. What do you think his recruiting class will look like? Because listen, I'm a Jacksonian. I want him to succeed, but what is his recruiting class going to be? And then that's the second question.
There's so many moving parts. Like, bro, he ain't even really been like there full time. Like, I have no idea. Like, I'm assuming he's probably going to be top 20. I think that's a safe bet. I mean, he's already flipped a kid from Notre Dame. Like, I don't know. And I'm going to be honest. I hate to say this. Like, I really don't care. Like, to me, like, I don't care what Colorado is. Like, the game I'm most excited for is the North Dakota State game next year because I still think North Dakota State is going to beat them, and I can't wait for it. But at the end of the day, I think this year I don't think he gets over 7-5. 7-5, they might as well build a statue.
Yeah, Colorado's the Mississippi Valley, the Pac-12, ain't it?
It has been.
Appreciate the call. Listen, man. Listen, if you see the schedule, that back half is
brutal.
It's
brutal.
You have to win the first 4 or 5 games, and taking out TCU because you're probably not gonna win that game. But you got to win. You got to beat Nebraska. You have to win the first 4 or 5 games to make it happen.
Exactly, D. That's it. Other than that, I don't care what Colorado does.
Oh man, so that back half of the schedule is brutal, and there ain't no D2 school, there ain't no D1 AA school that you can dunk and get a win in. Ain't none of that. It is a full FBS roster. All right, so yeah, let's go. Reese, coming to you, Reese. What's up, Reese?
Yo, I got a question. How you feel about Quill Draggs getting signed to the USFL? And I'm jump on.
I'm proud of him, bro. I
Happy.
love it.
Yeah.
I know that, sometimes they come off like people are hard on him, but I mean, you gotta, like, for me, it's all X's and O's at the end of the day. Like, I can critique him as a player and still love him as a person because, man, listen, I love his family. I've got to talk to them. I love Akil. Great person, great family, man. I'm rooting for him so hard. I hope he goes and wins the MVP in that league next year. Like, I'm going to be the biggest Akil Glass fan, and he's playing in New Orleans, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, the Breakers.
Love that. It's right there. Like, I'm probably going to go to a Breakers game if he starts just to see Akil Glass, man. I'm so excited for him, and I absolutely love it.
Yeah, I hit up Akil. He told me that he's because I asked him, was he going with Coach DT with the XFL? Did he have any? He said the USFL already reached out to him. He was just trying to figure out where he was going to get placed. Found out today he'll beat the New Orleans Breakers. If you're an A&M fan, go down there and support. Go down there and do what you can, represent. I hope he does well. Listen, man, Akil, like I said, critiquing him as a quarterback is totally different than wanting to see him succeed. All right, that's our jobs per se, right? Especially mine. It's our jobs to critique quarterbacks, critique running backs, critique players. And yes, he has flaws, but if given the opportunity, you've seen what he can do. If he gets the right offensive mind and he gets protection, Akil can do damage. He's a high level thinker. So all you can do is hope for the best. And we'll definitely be keeping track of him. 78-22 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
Hey, Scotty. Hey, Blue. How y'all doing tonight?
Good. How you doing? What's your name? Where you calling from?
My name is Shayna, calling from New Orleans.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you? I just wanted to make a quick comment. I don't understand. I guess it's been a couple of weeks, and I still don't understand why people are so sensitive. I mean, I just easily look at this situation as far as Deion going to Jackson and leaving and stuff like that. I look at it as that they can acting like they've never had a friend. They never had that friend who go and get a job at Burger King for 6 months just to pay a bill off and then quit or to go somewhere else. I mean, it's just the same thing. The man, no matter what he told them about, how he sold himself to get the job, it's an opportunity. The man wanted the opportunity. So he may have lied a little bit or whatever, but hey, that happens every day. You're going to go on the job. He wanted that job desperately so he can build up his resume. So guess what? He said what he said to get the job. He accomplished that. And now he's on to bigger and better things. So I think it's just simple. I think people just happen to be in their feelings just because, like Blue said, because it's the HBCU and, Deion, the kind of cameras he brings around, things of that nature.
Can I ask you a question?
But I look at it in those particular eyes, as far as I'm concerned, everybody had that. You're a salesman. When you go to an interview,
can I ask you a question?
You're a salesman. You're selling yourself.
Can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Are you and I'm not trying to get too personal, but I'm trying to give you a scenario. If you were dating a guy, right, and he came up to you and said, I wanted to marry you, I think you're this, I think you're that, he buys you a ring and everything, it proposes to you, right? And then right when you think y'all planning the wedding, right? And then right when a month before the date comes up, he's like, you know what? Hey, I saw another girl. I'm good. I'm gonna just go over here. How would you feel?
Well, this would be my take on that, Scotty. If that would happen, first and foremost, if you coming up in there asking me to marry me out of the blue, I'd be trying to figure out, well, where the hell where you know me from? Like,
no, what I'm saying is like, because let's be real, like, I'm just giving you the scenario of just like, I'm not saying like he walked up to you. I'm just saying y'all dating, y'all talking, he proposes. Like the guy is doing everything you want, right? He's telling you all these sweet nothings and all this. And then when you think he's going to commit to you, fully commit to you, he dips on you. You get what I'm saying? So to me, it's like,
I'm not okay. Honestly, I'm not saying that I wouldn't feel some type of way.
Exactly.
But what I'm saying is, in this particular situation, and I agree with the comparison, but I'm just saying, Like, come on. Y'all had to know this man was not coming there for the long haul. It was just what it was. It was just what it was. I don't think, and he, like I said, we can't make him say what he wanted to say. He said what he wanted to say. He came from what angle he wanted to come from. But all I know is when people are in this type of business, in the business world, period, because I'm a business owner, you're selling yourself. That's just what it is. And I mean, you know, it's just a cutthroat situation. That's all I can say.
Listen, at the end of the day, you said what I needed you to say. I would be kind of hurt, and people deal with hurt all different type of ways. You know what I'm saying? People process hurt.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People process hurt. You got the people like Key. Key don't show no type of emotion. If she get hurt, she like, hey, I'm gonna suck it up and drive on. Right? You got me. I'm gonna be eating sherbet ice cream. You know what I'm saying? Until I can't eat it no more. You know what I'm saying? That's just me. You know what I'm saying? Everybody deals with hurt differently. You know what I'm saying? So it all process. You know, people process. So you got the people like you that like, hey man, suck it up, move on. Like, hey, you know, he came, he did, he saw, he conquered. Then you got people like from Jackson. They over there. You know, they got a shrine up and they crying every night. You know, it's just different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I agree.
You know what I'm saying? That's how it is. Hurt. You know what they say? Hurt people. Hurt people. Hurt people.
Oh my God! No, you didn't go there.
You know what I'm saying? Hurt people. Hurt people. That's what they say in life. But hey, appreciate the call. Thank you so much.
All right.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It got to be orange. Listen, if I'm going through a moment, it got to be orange. If it ain't orange sherbet, I don't know what to tell you. If it ain't orange sherbet, I don't know what to tell you. You know what I'm saying? Like I gotta process with my orange sherbet. Okay, I gotta get through it. You know, Key over there acting like, you know, she ice cold. You know what I'm saying? Like she got I got an ice box where my heart used to be. That's Key. You know what I'm saying? See, I'm so cold. I'm so cold. I'm so cold. That's Key. You know that me. I'm over there. I'm emotional. You know, I'm emotional. Oh man, oh that was funny. It's one of those nights. It was one of those nights. 70-34 coming to you. 70-34 coming to you. Hey, call me.
Gentlemen, how's it going, everybody? Everybody's doing well.
What's up?
Gotta be honest. Full disclosure, I got nothing. I just got on the phone, man. I was in traffic and stuff, and hell, I like the show, so I decided to call in. I got nothing. But I will say this about the other caller. I'm in education, and I wanted to be a counselor. So I literally drove 2 hours to get counseling experience so I can come back to the district that I live in just to be a counselor. So, yeah, people do that all the time. People take a job to get experience to go to the job they really want all the time. That's all Dion did. It is what it is. I don't know why they didn't see that. I saw it. Hell, Stevie Wonder saw it. But they seem to not have seen that. But anyway, man, I got nothing. Like I said, I ain't got nothing, guys. Love your show, man. Hell, I'm going to call when you get the 60,000 pom-pom cat on there. Hopefully this time, though, I won't be stuck in traffic and all that old mess, and I can actually hear the show from the beginning, man. God bless, man. And, oh, yeah, what y'all think about this? What y'all thinking? What if Jackson State win? And what if they carry Dion off the field on their shoulder because they won? Y'all think that's going to happen, man?
I think it'll happen. Yeah, 13-0. You got
to
celebrate 13-0.
Go ahead.
No, I just said you got to celebrate 13-0. Appreciate the call, man. Thank you so much. Oh, man, that was funny. He said, hey, I saw it. Stevie Wonder. That's Stevie.
Oh, God, bro.
That's Stevie.
Sometimes with the callers, man, like I just don't know where they're going. It's like when you were like a kid at like dinner, they hand you a little maze. Like, bro, it's like you handed me that every call, and I'm trying to like beat them to like what they're gonna ask, and so some of them I get lost.
Hey man, listen, that's the beauty of a call show, man. That's the beauty. See, when you do your call shows, you know they
yeah. No, I don't know. There's like, listen, there's been a few recently that it's been tough. Listen, because Prom's #1 in HBCU football apparently now over Eddie Robinson.
Hey man, he's the win guy. 5471 coming to you. Oh, my bad. Hey, calling you live.
Gentlemen, how are you?
We're doing fine. How are you?
Well, all right, man. Well, first of all, my name's JJ. I'm from I'm an Alcorn State alum, and I laugh at the J State fans because for the past 8 months on the interview with 60 Minutes, he told him that he gonna answer the call. So Deion answered all the calls, and I don't know why they so upset. Another analogy would be if Deion told his girl, like, look, we're gonna get engaged on Monday, but Sunday night he said, look, I'm gonna need you to lose 30 pounds before we get this ring. But yeah, thank you. All right.
Oh my God, bro.
Oh. Yo, boy, y'all need to go somewhere, bro, for real. Yo, man, was this stupid? What?
Oh my God.
Oh man. Oh man. He said, I need you to lose 30 pounds. What? Oh, you need to cut weight? Yo, man, you got to cut weight. Oh man. Oh boy. They own one tonight. Oh boy, they own one tonight. Oh, that was funny. I needed that. Yeah, that was funny. I got to give him credit for that one. That was a good one. 85-66 color you. Whew.
Hey, what's going on, fellas? This is J Love.
What's
How
up,
y'all
J
doing
Love?
tonight?
We good, man.
What's good, man?
Oh, bro, took it y'all, didn't you?
Oh man, that was funny. I needed that one.
Look, I'm gonna change gears for a minute, and I just want to talk about TC Taylor. Get y'all opinion about something. So after we win this championship, TC Taylor's shoes gonna be really big to fill. I mean, you know, he got some big shoes to fill coming behind Deion. So I'm in and out. I just got a quick question, and it's for both of y'all. I want both of y'all to give me y'all thoughts.
All righty.
With everything that happened with Grambling last year, right? If you TC Taylor, do you kick the tires on Art Briles? I mean, because making a big time hire is not out of the question. He's the head coach now, but do you run that risk, kick the tires on Art Briles? That's all I got.
Appreciate the call. If I'm Ashley Robinson, that's a hell to the no. You ain't about to mess up my streak trying to no.
Come on, but listen, I talked about this. Has someone called in on the TC Taylor show I had and asked the same question? You can't turn that rock back over. You already saw what happened to Grambling. The last thing the SWAC wants to do is when there's still a few eyes left right after Deion left. You don't want those eyes to see another team try to hire. Like, the SWAC can't be known in the media world as a conference that tried to hire Art Briles twice and failed. Like, it would be embarrassing. Like, you can't do it. Like, it's just not there's too many good offensive coordinators out there to take another chance on Art Briles.
Yeah, I agree. Totally agree. And if you're looking for the white ones, Deion took most of those. So I mean, you might have to go actually find somebody black to call plays. Just saying, might happen, might not. 53-36, and then 34-54, then 86-43. All right, that's the order. 53-36 coming to you. Hey, calling you live. Hey, calling you live. 53-36. All right, gotta let you go. Sergeant, Mr. Sergeant, coming to you. Hey,
what's up, fellas? First of all, thank you so much for doing the show. I actually have two serious questions, and I have to because I laughed so much at the last caller. You know, my abdomen hurts. I can't handle it. All right. So my question is about FAMU and about the FAMU schedule. Last couple of years, we played Southern, Grambling, UAPB. Are we ever going to get Prairie View A&M and Alcorn on the schedule? And then can we start a, not a countdown, but like a count up of the number of days that BCU has been without a coach? I think we need to have a little box, and every day we need to increase the number until they find a coach. So that's it. Just, you know, real serious questions. Y'all have a good evening.
real serious questions.
Yeah, super serious there.
Super serious. Yeah, listen, first of all, don't get me a part of this rivalry between you and Bethune-Cookman and FAMU. I ain't part of that. I'm gonna throw my jabs at both of y'all when it's accompanied. Yeah, it's just a natural roll of the schedule. Like like it's gonna roll. They're gonna roll over and things like that.
It's the same thing with any conference like the SEC. Like every East school plays a different West school every year, unless it's like a cross divisional rivalry, like in Auburn, like an LSU, Florida, and Auburn, Georgia, at Tennessee, Alabama. But they rotate on and off the schedule. So
yeah, so it is what it is. 86-43 coming to you. Hey, calling you live.
Yo, what's up, Scotty? What's up, Blue?
What's goody? What's the name?
I got a question. What's up? This is Mike calling from Columbus, Georgia. I got a question about since Blue, you the FCS expert, how do you think Shedeur FCS success is going to translate to the FBS?
That's a good question.
It depends on like the type of weapons they surround himself with. I'm going to be really interested to see how he runs Sean's offense. But I mean, in terms of it could go so many different ways, but I mean, Cameron Ward had a pretty outstanding first season for Washington State. I mean, he had him ranked in the top 20. I mean, I think Shedeur is good enough to be successful at the next level. Do I think he's a realistic Heisman contender like some people are already deeming him? No. I don't even know if he's a top 3 quarterback right now in the Pac-12, but I mean, I think he'll be just fine.
Okay, I got a question for Scotty now. Who the best quarterback in the SWAC now?
Without Shedeur?
Yeah, without Shedeur, yeah.
Andrew Buddy! No, I ain't gonna do it. I haven't said it in a long time, so I wouldn't do it. It'll be Musa. It'll be Musa.
All right, so I'm going. One more question though, man. Who y'all got in Celebration Bowl?
I got Jackson State.
Yeah, we both got Jackson State.
Okay, me too, y'all. All right, man. Y'all boy be easy, man. Good show, y'all. Hold it down, man.
Hey, no problem. Appreciate it, man. Yeah, I mean, I haven't done Andrew Body in a long time, so I had to get that off my chest. It's been sitting on me. But now it'll be Musa. Musa will be number 1, and then number 2 will be Andrew Body. Well, don't sleep. Andrew ain't that far.
If he takes a step forward in terms of accuracy, he could be there.
Yeah. Don't sleep on my boy Andrew now. Yeah, that's a no. That's a no. That's a no. He's more
Bashawn McCray.
Yeah, he's more the Bashawn McCray bandwagon. All right, so you know what I'm saying. So you might want to slide that on to the side. Yeah, that's a no. All right, Blue, what you got coming up this week, man?
Man, tomorrow, Coach's Corner with NCCU's offensive coordinator Leone tomorrow, dropping early in the morning. Also, I'll have a live stream tomorrow night, previewing Celebration Bowl, previewing the semifinals of the FCS playoffs. We got Incarnate Word versus North Dakota State, and South Dakota State versus Montana State, which I think should be a national championship matchup. But hey, it is what it is with the bracket. Thursday, man, I'll have Josh and Ken on to preview the Celebration Bowl. They wanted to do a little trash talk, so hey, I was like, why not? And Josh is that's my guy, so I'm interested to see how he feels. He always says NCCU by 40, so I'll just throw that out there. And then this weekend, I was going to be at the Celebration Bowl, but I kind of changed my plans. I'm going to go. I think I'm going to go to Fargo, go check out the Bison up there, get to see Incarnate Word up close. So I'll probably be at the Incarnate Word North Dakota State game this weekend up in Fargo.
I like it. Take some pictures for me for Fargo.
I got you.
Yeah, take some pictures for me. All right, listen, guys. So for me, I'm gonna be out. Listen, there will be no The Breakdown. There will be no Thursday shows for me. I gotta go to Dallas. I gotta pick my kids up, turn and burn, baby. Friday, I will be on Radio Row for the Celebration Bowl. So if you're in Atlanta, you want to swing through, I will be on Radio Row doing a live show there. We might have The Breakdown there at the Radio Row. I'm gonna talk to Mike, see if he can make that happen and things like that. I will not be at the Celebration Bowl game. I will not be at the Celebration Bowl game. I might change my mind. I have my kids, so I might want to take them for that experience. You know, if the people at the Celebration Bowl was just a little bit cooler, maybe I could have took my kids on the field. But you know, they don't like me, so it's cool. But the SWAC,
they don't like anybody. Like I wasn't even allowed on the field, so like you could.
I bet you, as soon as Dion leave, everybody gonna be allowed on the field. But we ain't gonna talk about that. But So you catch me on Radio Row for the Celebration Bowl. Won't be at the game. I'll probably do a post-game show. You probably My kids probably gonna be running around here. I got them for Christmas and stuff like that. So it's gonna be a lot of moving parts going around these parts. All right. But other than that, guys, listen, before I get up out of here, if you would like to donate to the wedding party, you can go to the you can go to our website, Mr. and Mrs. Script. All right, you already know we're getting married. July 8th is the date for our nuptials. All right. So if you guys like to support, buy anything, whatever, you can go to Mr. and Mrs. Script.com and listen, if you hate me, please don't take that to the page because Key don't do very well with, she don't move the same. So if you don't like me, just keep it here and all the hate here. I ask you that. Can you at least do me that favor? Don't take it over to the website. Appreciate that. All right. So yeah. So other than that, guys, we're going to get up out of here, man. I appreciate my boy Blue, as always, for taking time to give you part of his big brain. You know what I'm saying? Make sure you guys go support that interview he's dropping with Matt Leone and everything like that in the live show he's going to do with Josh and them boys. But listen, until next time, you know what I'm going to do. I'm going to holler. God bless.